Before we get started talking about this nostalgic classic, I would like to tell you about another awesome movie podcast. The Retro Video Store Podcast reviews the classic and not so classic movies of the VHS era. Hosts Eric and Neil try to capture the feeling of renting a movie off the shelves of a mom and pop video store, or the thrill of catching a scary movie on cable late at night with your friends. Everything from classics like Poltergeist to cult favorites like The Beastmaster are covered. Pop some popcorn and settle in for a humorous blast of nostalgia with the Retro Video Store Podcast. You can catch the Retro Video Store Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and most major podcast providers.
So, I know you do your little intros and maybe you can use this, but the fact that there is advertising, that you're gonna monetize, you're gonna make money.
Yeah.
Money. Do you know that show?
Is it?
Oh. Money.
Oh,
I got money now.
Oh, okay, well, I thought it was My Big Fat Greek Wedding that I just didn't remember the part because it sounds like you're being the dad from that movie.
No, it's Broad City. You know when Abby gets a check? What? For like $8,000 and she goes to the bank and it's like the...
And they do the music video where they're wearing the giant pants.
Yes!
So awesome. Wow, I miss Broad City.
Oh my god, and the money ends up being for, she was trying to get an apartment, and she was at a home with a couple. The guy was black, the woman was Indian, and she's like, my commercial's on, this is my artwork. And then it was like, hey, here's a new dating site, whites only. We want people to only date white people. And they were like looking at her and then, I forgot Lincoln. And then Lincoln's like, I don't know her. I sleep with her friend. I don't. But literally Abby is at the cashier. She's like, I got money. And even if somebody gives us like $10, I want you to just send me a voice note being like, I got money now. Money.
And then I'll make a music video of me wearing like balloon pants, dancing in a bank, and like throwing dollar bills everywhere.
Oh my god.
Oh, I missed that show. I gotta watch that.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop. Sisters. Sisters who've seen it.
Welcome.
We're back.
In the flesh. Not really. That's a lie. We're in
the voice?
Zoom? In your head.
God help you all if you hear us in your head.
What do you feel like people that are listening to the podcast, like what is the most frequent activity? Like are they, because you can't commute anymore.
I know, that's where I used to listen to podcasts.
You're not going to the gym for a run. Like,
no.
Are they like washing dishes? Are they, are they just like trying to be nice and play it and then like leave the room?
We're the chore one. They're like, now we're going to vacuum. Soup's loud. Put it on. Alexa's like, okay. So, we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where two sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
I can't think of anything for this movie.
Twist and shout.
Oh,
Twist
that was
and
it.
Shout.
Wow. So we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
It was just...
This movie makes sense in 1986.
Yeah.
It does not make sense in 2020. Well, not a lot makes sense in 2020.
Yeah,
but
aside from
the
pandemic, definitely.
Will not. There's no way to recreate this movie in 2020 with today's technology and the ethical advancements, I would say.
Yeah, and the reality of stuff. Do you want to introduce the movie? Because it was picked for you.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Boo boo!
Oh, wow! Ooh, wow!
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 Ferris!
Sorry.
So, I know in our last episode, I did a lot of references to Clerks, the cartoon show. But this episode, I just want to do a trigger warning for everyone. Trigger warning. I am going to make some references to another amazing show, which actually I referenced last time as well, Degrassi, because Degrassi did a spoof of this movie. They did an episode that was like a spoof of this movie, and I've seen the episode more than this movie, and it was, wow, very homage-y, if you will.
If I don't get a handle on this Degrassi, this is going to turn into a Degrassi podcast.
That's my plan all along.
God, you're so smart. So I actually wanted to send this to you because as I was reading all the fun facts, as I like to do, I actually feel like you should put this in the show note links. There was a TV show for Ferris Bueller.
What?
And it did horrible. It got
bet.
canceled right away. But Jennifer Aniston was in it playing Jennifer Grey, like the sister. And I feel like I need to find it. Or can you try to find the Ferris Bueller TV? Because he tries to basically say that the movie was off of his life. And he's like, yeah, the movie did well and was off of my life, but like, it's not really who I am. And he takes out a cardboard cutout of Matthew Broderick.
Oh, God.
And then a chainsaw. And chainsaws Matthew Broderick.
Okay, well, there's your problem right there. That's not gonna work.
And it's so 80s that it's like him in these giant pants.
Oh,
you
God.
remember those intros where it'd be like Jennifer Anderson and the font would kind of go different colors?
And she would pose.
Oh, yeah.
And then like turn and be like, oh, it's you.
No, it was just like him in a computer screen far away dancing like a modern day GIF. It is so weird. You need to see it. I feel like people should get drunk and watch it.
I will try to find it.
It's like 3 minutes long.
All right, we'll look for that. Well, we have to summarize the movie.
Yes, we do. Should I go?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I could go two ways. I could make it quick, or I could go long. I'm going to try to do it quick.
You do you.
I read John Hughes,
Yep.
which... Moving to Chicago, I've learned he based all of his movies from Chicago. He was from Chicago. The New Trier High School, which is this big fancy high school like he went to, and he based all his movies off of, and blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of fun seeing all like the Chicago stuff. But I guess in those 1980s, he was just crushing it movie after movie. And he called up Paramount and he was like, hey, I have an idea for a high school kid that just wants to skip school for the day. And they were like, okay, make your movie.
Cool.
So I kind of want to make my synopsis to be like, it's about this high school kid who everything goes right for him. And yes, he's charming and popular and, you know, whatever. Privileged. And super privileged. And he basically just kind of tricks everybody to thinking he's sick and takes off. And then he gets his friend and his best friend Cameron involved. And he gets girl he's dating at a school, and it's all about his like antics, and they just have the best day ever going all around Chicago. And at the end of the movie, he comes home, and that was his crazy wild day. You just go through his shenanigans. I think that is a better synopsis. Keep it tight and short. What do you got?
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, what I appreciated in the movie this time around, which clearly not when I was like younger, I didn't really care, was Cameron's whole story.
Yeah.
And that whole shebang, because Cameron's the best friend, and he, I don't know, I mean, when it starts off, you're like, oh, he's sick. Poor guy. And he actually is sick. Like, look at all this medicine. And then Ferris is like, he's not sick, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, Ferris, you're a jerk. But then you kind of find out Ferris is right. And like, you find out Cameron's life is kind of not so great, and there's all these reasons why, and then basically Ferris is like, let's go out, let's have a fun day, you and me. And Cameron is the one character that actually has growth in the movie. I don't think Ferris does. Ferris is, he stays the same. But Cameron actually has like an arc, and he's the one that I think you end up caring about to some degree. And then, you know, it's a happy ending for him, I guess, in a way. So... no, I like that.
How old do you think Cameron was when he filmed this movie?
I think they were all like 30 to 40 because
Cameron was 29.
Okay, that's like
a 17-year-old. Like, what?
And the girlfriend, I was like, okay, hold up. Because when she first started talking, you're like, are you just like talking in a weird voice because of the moment? And then no, she talked like that the whole movie. And I was like, oh, you have like this deep voice. Ferris, hey. Like, she talked really weird. I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, ironically, she was 18.
Okay, well, I don't know. She sounded
but
like she
your
was 30.
point on John Hughes wanted this like older woman figure, and she seemed like she was way older. They were like, "Oh, you're 18? Wow." Which I'm like, why can't kids play kids? I'm still confused by this. Why was that like an 80s thing? Like, so bizarre.
It's funny because not to reference the Babysitter's Club or Degrassi again, but those shows...
Drink every time Degrassi's mentioned.
This is the new drinking game. Those shows, like, did it right because you can't have an old person playing a middle schooler. I feel like middle school is typically a good one where you're like, oh yeah, I have to get the right age. And young kids too. You're like, I gotta get the right age. But I don't know why. Like, high school, because there's definitely teenage actors, so it's weird.
Yeah, I did think Cameron was the best actor.
Mm-hmm. He's the only one who really had to, like, act, though, you know? Like, he's the only one who had, like, emotion.
I thought Jennifer Grey at times kind of, like, did some good stuff.
No, that's true. She was good.
But I read this whole thing about, like, you know, where are they now and where do they end up? And Cameron... I forget the guy's name, but he went on to do all this serious acting stuff. And even though he didn't get as big as Matthew Broderick and all those other names, he's like a working actor.
Cool.
All those like credits they get, right? That's like the number of credits you get or whatever stuff you do. He had like the highest.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. But, so 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, his mom shows up, and I was like, more
Bueller.
hairstyle.
The short hair.
Or I guess I shouldn't say her name. Mom's hairstyle.
Oh my god, and she had a blazer.
And she was a realtor. I was like, of course you are.
Yeah.
Because homes are booming.
Okay, I have a question, though, because this could have just been me. I will admit to you and the listeners, my memories of this movie, I remember thinking Ferris is a jerk and he's so annoying. So I went in a little biased. So in the beginning of the movie, with such biases floating around in my brain, when the mom is like talking to him like, oh my god, you're sick. Did he talk in a baby voice? Or was it my brain being like, see, he's so annoying?
No, it was gross. I wrote it down.
I hate it.
He said, give me a call. Give me a ringy dingy.
What? Can you repeat that?
Give me a ringy dingy.
I heard. I just want to make sure I was like not mad and like making it like again the bias. It's in my brain.
I didn't like him either, so I was the opposite. I liked him more as a kid, thinking, "Oh heck yeah," as Napoleon would say. I want to get out of school and I want to go do cool stuff. And watching it now, I'm like, he's the worst.
I mean. Yeah.
At the end, when the car goes through the garage and he was like, I'll take the heat for you. That was, in my opinion, the only time he wasn't the worst.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, it's my world and yada yada. And I read all these articles about people still loving this movie. People being like, Ferris is the best. It's the best movie of all time. And then I read like probably 10% of the articles were like, are y'all nuts? He was a jerk. And he's the kid that everybody loves and gets away with everything. He's a spoiled brat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, I felt like I sided with the 10%, which is probably a downer for people like that want to hear us talk about how great it all was. I was a little like, ugh.
Well, okay. Well, that's okay though. Cause I feel like I flipped a little. I feel like I was like, oh, I don't hate you as much than I remember.
Oh, so maybe that's what it is. You have to go in without hating bias.
I went in hating him and I came out like, okay, my brain was like very dramatic and it wasn't as I remember. Okay, well, I hate the baby talk and I just want to say, as a person who works with children, if you are a parent and your child, whatever age, does not normally talk like a baby, don't let them then talk like a baby sometimes to you because you're being played. Because this whole movie, these parents were like the biggest dinglings I've ever met. I wanted to scream.
Ringy dingy dinglings.
God, no. They were in the movie so much, and like they're so dumb. And then the principal called the mom and was like, he's been absent this many times. And she's like, what? News to me. I'm like, you know what? I just felt like it was more made at the parents for
the theme
falling for it, and
this reminds me of like 10 Things I Hate About You, where it's like, okay, so the theme is the teachers are so boring, you're literally snoozing at your desk. The parents are so dumb, or they're really evil, like Cameron's parents.
Yeah.
And so it's this like world without authority.
Right.
Or a disrespect for authority. And yeah, that dad, I mean, the mom was bad, but I thought the dad was worse. I mean, he literally saw Ferris like 17 times in Chicago. He did like that double take, like a cartoon, and you're like, that was your son. How do you not know?
Also, he saw Sloane, who was the girlfriend, and was like making googly eyes at her, and I was really disturbed, and I hated it.
No, some of them didn't age well. I was like, ew.
Gross.
But he was like a really good dad character. Like the parade where he like starts in his office snapping his hand and like shaking his head. So I was like, you're the epitome of a dad. Woof.
Woof indeed.
Yeah. And his whole like talking to the camera thing and the whole teaching you how to get out of being sick, and you know, you don't want to go to the doctor, but you want to be just sick enough, so you got to have the clammy hands.
Right. So that's problem number one, parents. This is turning also into a parent advice podcast today, because if your child has somatic symptoms, go to school. That's it. No fever, no vomiting, get in there. No COVID, get in there. Unless your school's closed, then don't go.
What did you call them?
Somatic. That's what they are.
I have no idea what that is.
It's basically like a symptom that you have no evidence of. So it'd be like, my head hurts. And you're like, okay, I can't measure that. Like, I can't see it. I can't feel it. There's no way for me to know if it's true. And sometimes for kids, that could mean, oh, actually, I'm like really stressed or I'm upset, but I don't know that, so I'm just going to say my head hurts. So you call it like somatic because it's not like a temperature I can take, or it's not vomit where I'm like, oh, I see it. There it is on the floor. That's gross. So like all these things he's saying, they're all somatic. And the clammy hands, like if you're really sick, you're not just going to have clammy hands and no other symptoms that I can measure. So again, parents, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
Kate, I'm kind of like, but like, what if your head hurts and something's wrong? How would you...
But that's possible. Listen, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because it does happen, but just a lot of times it's an easy excuse kids can use, and I don't think it should be a immediate, oh, let them stay home, especially because they talked to me like a widow baby. Those combos, that should have been the clue, but clearly these parents... I do really care about attendance for kids, and before COVID times, right? Like before all this craziness, because it is like a serious problem, and more so for younger kids, I would argue, because that's really where they're learning core skills like reading, and the more school you miss, the harder it is to catch up, and then you kind of build up this routine, and a lot of times what happens is the kid ends up being in charge, and then the parent's like, oh, woe is me, I can't control my 9-year-old, and you're like, well, you can, and like bring them to school. So anyway, it's just stuff like that where you're like 9 sick days. First of all, the max amount of absences that you legally can have, this is just New Jersey speaking, you're supposed to be there 90% of the school year. So if there's 180 days, that's what we're supposed to have, school days, 10% is 18 days. So if a kid is out more than 18 days, technically, they haven't finished a school year. So they could be in danger of like losing credit, or I don't agree with it, but maybe being held back and like things like that. So like he's like, oh, it's my 9th sick day in the semester. That's half of your whole year in a semester.
Yeah, but wasn't it summer? Wasn't it the end?
No,
I don't know, Kate. I think if I let you keep going, this feels like school. Am I in trouble?
No, I'm so sorry. Do I sound like a principal? I'm so sorry.
A little bit.
Bueller?
No, you're not. Actually, I know you. And because I know you, when you come off intense, it's because you care, and that is how you show love.
Right. Which is not what the principal did. He did it the wrong way. He did it in like a accusatory, you hurt my feelings way. And you're like, okay, but like, it's not about you.
So do you know about that actor? Do you know about Ed Rooney's situation in life?
I know he was in the movie Stay Tuned. Do you remember that one?
Oh my god, yes.
That's a great one.
What? That's an amazing movie.
He was the bad guy in that.
Jeffrey Jones. Okay, so you're not going to like Jeffrey Jones after I tell you what happened.
Jesus, Christmas.
So Jeffrey Jones got caught, I don't know when, with some child pornography. As well as soliciting child to take a nude photograph.
Ew.
And it's really interesting because you could tell it's trying so hard to hide it from the internet. Because when I read all these other articles, they were like, and Jeffrey Jones had a legality issue. And like, they don't go into it. And I'm like, what?
Why? Ugh.
And so then he is a registered sex offender and, you know, whatever that he had to do.
I mean, not good, but like, ugh.
He would move to places and not file, and then he got in trouble for not filing as a registered sex offender.
Oh my God.
Knowing that, and my friends that are actors hate when I say this, but I believe people play themselves.
I was going to say, I know your theory. People play themselves.
He was such a
creep.
He was, I have no boundaries. Like, he would be arrested.
He broke into a home.
Yeah, like, what? And also, like, again, the only arc was Cameron, as you say.
Yeah.
Ed Rooney. Mr. Rooney. I wish so bad I could do that accent. Mr. Rooney.
You sounded like it. That was
Did
good.
I? Oh my God.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mr. Rooney. Oh God, I hurt my throat. But his whole thing, I wrote it down because I was like, why do you hate this guy? And then he goes, what's so dangerous about a bad kid like Ferris is he gives good kids bad ideas. And then the best character of the entire movie is the secretary who says, and he also makes you look like an
Bueller.
And then her famous line of, well, they think he's a righteous dude.
She had the weird accent, Minnesotan accent, yeah.
Well, when I moved here to Chicago, I was like, oh, you know, like SNL skit, like, da bears, da bears, da bears, da bears. No, nobody talks like that here.
Oh, it's kind of like New Jersey, how everyone thinks, like, we pump our fists and, like, go tanning.
Well, Dad kind of sounds like Dad sounds like he's from New York. But, like, Jersey people are just New York people, right?
No.
I was told when I used to fly to Tennessee a lot for one job that our A's are weird.
Well, I used to get made fun of at Delaware for saying bag. Because they're like, why do you say it like that? It's bog. And I was like, that's where, like, monsters live, in the bog. Please, get away from me.
The cranberry bog.
The cranberry bog. Yeah, no.
When we got Penny, her original name was Mara. Oh, and I was like, wait, what?
Like Mara Wilson?
Matilda?
My heart! It all comes full circle. It all comes full circle. It was meant to be. Oh my God, oh my God.
So I would say to him, I was like, I love that name, Mara. And he literally is like, Bridget, I cannot with your A's. Like, we cannot name a dog with 2 A's and I have to listen to you yelled at every day. We can't. And that's how we came up with
now
Penny.
She has no A's in her name.
It's just like... But the secretary, because we're going down a random rabbit hole, sounds much more Minnesota. They think he's a righteous dude.
I love that. It's so great.
Like, oh, Bobby, dear, don't you know?
She was like such a fangirl of him. I was like, what?
Oh
I mean, listen, the secretaries know everything.
Dude.
They're the people you gotta be friends with because they know everything that's going on in school. So she knew everything.
Yeah, and they also talk the biggest... You know, so you gotta like...
That's why you gotta be friends with them. You want to be on their side.
Yo, the first corporate job I ever had when I lived in New York and was so broke and I could barely eat. The other things that secretaries can hook you up with is like they get all this food for like fancy executives and then there's a ton left over and she would like package me food. I was like... Her name was Bridget, too. Shout out to Bridget.
We love her.
Love you, Bridget.
Yeah, she was great.
She was great. And the first introduction where she just keeps taking pencils out of her big little hair, or not big little, just big hair. I started hysterically laughing. I don't know if I'm like just becoming an old person, but I was like, Ferris is a little brat, but you and your pencil hair.
I feel, like there was a lot of scenes that were kind of random like that. So I think that's it. It's what made it funny, you know? There weren't a lot of parts where someone was saying a line that I laughed at. There were parts where I was watching someone do something that I laughed at. And that usually holds up, so long as it's not like inappropriate stuff. And really, there wasn't like a lot of inappropriate stuff going on in this movie, I feel like, so.
It was just slyly inappropriate. Like most movies, it was racist.
Yep.
It was privileged.
Yep.
It was sexist. It kind of like the moral compass was a little going left and right. You know, it was basically like, oh, I'm cool because I have an expensive car. And my biggest critique with the movie, besides I didn't think Ferris was as cool as everybody says now, is I was so stressed with them getting caught.
Yeah.
I don't know if I appreciated. I was like, why can't you have the movie where we have more fun? Like, I only saw a little bit of the baseball game, but you're almost going to get caught. I only saw a little bit of the restaurant, but you're almost going to get caught. It's like, dude, why can't we, like, have more fun? Double down on fun. It's COVID. I'm stressed.
Oh,
sorry.
but they weren't
Let me just
stressed.
drink this beer.
So I think that was
well, Cameron was.
Well, but that's his personality. And I think that was the point. Ferris is like, you're too stressed. Loosen up.
Totes.
Degrassi story. So, in the episode,
And drink.
because it's only one episode that they spoof it, it's, again, 3 characters. And this time, instead, it's 2 girls and a guy. So it's Paige, her boyfriend Spinner, and then they go pick up Paige's friend, whose name is Ashley, and Ashley is supposed to be like the Cameron. And Ashley, throughout the series, she's like very depressed because her boyfriend cheated on her, and life is so hard. So anyway, so she's the Cameron, and I felt like I was going somewhere with this, and then I got lost in my brain. I think I just wanted to talk about Degrassi.
You know what your character role is? It's like putting Degrassi in every scenario. If it doesn't work.
I think normally I can do that, but this time I just got a little lost. I think I was talking about it because in the episode, there's a lot of allusions to, we don't want to get caught. And it's the same thing where they're like, we're trying to, like, we're faking being sick, and we're like, we take the fancy car, and then we go to all these places. And so it's a lot of that. But, like, in that, it wasn't every second that they were like, we're so worried about getting caught. And, like, there were some close calls, but it's not, like, the theme. And I felt like it was like this, too. I mean, Cameron, I don't think was worried about getting caught, that he was out and about. He was more worried there was going to be stuff with the car.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, as an audience, I didn't feel stressed because it didn't seem like they were too stressed. And even though Cameron was a little bit, he was made out to be like, you're the outlier and you need to loosen up, which to some degree, perhaps. I mean, we really didn't know a lot of, they talk about the backstory, but talking about something is different than seeing it. So it's hard to really know
how bad it is.
Yeah, because, I don't know, sometimes kids will see things one way and take things personally. And then
I don't know if it's,
parents don't mean it that way, but that's how a kid's gonna take it, stuff like that. And I'm not saying that's the situation, but it could have been, or it could have been horrible and we had no idea. But, like, we didn't hear of, like, abuse, no, like, physical, or, like, we're not calling the police.
Well, and it had to keep it light.
Yeah.
I mean, John Hughes knows the formula.
Right.
Which he also wrote this movie in 6 days.
Well, I feel like that's a lot of his movies. Didn't he do that with, like, Home Alone?
Or
Home Alone 2 or something?
There was, like, a writer's strike, so he had to, like, just jump on it. I don't know, but he kept it light, to your point. But here's my thing. Maybe I said this, but I didn't feel stressed. I was annoyed. I wanted to have more fun. Be silly. Like, if the best part of taking the day off is the fact that you get away with not getting caught, I don't necessarily think that's true.
But you don't think they had fun, though? I feel like they had a lot of
fun. The parade was fun.
What about the baseball game?
The baseball game was fun, but we saw 3 seconds of it. The restaurant was fun. We saw 2 seconds of it, and then his dad was there. And even the baseball game, who was it? Ed Rooney or his dad? It sees on TV. I'm like, why can't we just go to the baseball game and, like, chill out for a long time?
So you wanted to just, like, see more of it? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I wanted to experience more of the joy.
Yeah.
And not, what do you mean? This is the best day of your life. It's like, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. So I don't know if I believe it.
Well, and a lot of the plot was like, let's watch the weird principal.
Yeah, I don't care about him.
Leave his job and then go and stalk someone. What?
Yeah, I don't care. Okay, wait, we need to talk about all the things that technology would have debunked.
Okay.
Because, first things first, Okay, we have come to the conclusion the mom's a ding-dong. For her to check on Ferris, and it's literally like a dummy, like the dummies, like the crash test dummies, that like his plastic arm is off the bed. I'm like...
That's what I thought. I was like,
what?
You think that's your son's arm? Uh-oh. Who needs glasses?
Those bangs were too low. So that was like, all right. And then the whole... So she opens the door and your stereo plays. Technology now, you would look to the left and be like, I hear something to the left.
Right.
It just, no.
No.
Then we go to the whole Cameron calling and saying they have to take out Sloane because her grandmother died. Caller ID, yo.
I was going to say, that would definitely mess
Caller
things
ID.
up. Yeah.
And then even calling back, you're able to put a recording on your family's voicemail and... Like, no.
Yeah, that I
You'd call a cell phone.
I was confused because he called Sloane's house. And I was like, when did you... What's happening? And
then the whole, like, hacking the school computer to change the absentee days.
No.
Stop.
Not real.
Mm-mm. And then think about it. If you're a principal and you truly are as much of a lunatic as Ed Rooney, there would be a way to track Ferris with his cell phone or cameras or like some sort of school home technology. Literally, people have like the Ring on their home. You could see if a guy left.
Right.
There's so many ways now we are tracked that there's just no way you'd get away with it. Or like credit cards. How are you paying for this restaurant? How are you paying for this game?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like...
Or like the whole thing with Sloane's fake, her grandma died.
Yeah.
And he was like, show me the body. First of all,
ew.
That's gross.
For people listening, Katie just took her bun and flipped it to the right, flipped it to the left, and she's like a troll doll. You look like a troll doll right now.
Thank you. It's very 80s of me.
It is 80s.
Guys, if you're like Ferris Bueller, then you are always on the lookout for something entertaining to do. What better way than to get yourself a premium subscription to Audible? Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks. There are thousands of audiobooks, Audible originals, and, oh yeah, podcasts, among other things, in their Plus catalog. If you like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, then why not hear more about how it was made through the audiobook A Long Time Ago in a Cutting Room Far, Far Away, written by Paul Hirsch. Use our promo code to claim your free 30-day Premium Plus Audible membership. You get a free audiobook, as well as access to all the other awesome content Audible has to offer. Cancel anytime because there's no commitments for this free trial. Click the Audible link in our show notes to take advantage of this offer.
So that's why this movie couldn't be remade, is we're way too tracked. And okay, think about that. Ferris today, selfies, social media.
Oh, he totally would be a selfie kid, definitely.
And he would check in. He would check into all these places.
Definitely.
He'd be like, I'm at the famous art museum. I'm at the fancy restaurant.
So why was everyone so concerned about him being sick?
Who?
I don't know. The world? Like, I was with Jennifer Grey. I was like, what? Who paid money to paint a billboard?
The water tower.
Yeah, a water tower.
First of all, it was kind of cool on his like piano that he like made sick noises. I was like, yo, can we figure out how to do that at home? Like,
I mean, we could just do like a soundbite. We could just like go on the internet.
But
and,
he was like, I'm sorry. When you're a freshman in high school, and even if he's the coolest kid you've ever met, you do not care to call his house and ask if he's okay. Maybe kids are more selfish today, but I just didn't believe it.
And those kids had to pay money. That was a pay phone. That money's gone.
That could have been French fries at the cafeteria.
Seriously.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I mean, I think it was the whole point with Jennifer Grey, which, did you know that her and Matthew Broderick were engaged?
Drama.
Oh, the drama gets worse.
Oh,
so
God.
I went on and on that I think this movie's cursed. Like, you know how Poltergeist?
Yes.
So I think there's like kind of a curse to this movie with Ed Rooney being Ed Rooney.
Yeah.
So Jennifer Grey, Matthew Broderick were engaged. They went on vacation to Ireland.
Okay.
He was driving. Something went wrong. They got in an accident.
Oh.
He killed 2 people. Yeah. They broke up after that.
Bye.
The mom and dad in this movie, they found love together, and they got married in this movie. Nothing as dark as that happened. I led with the darkness. They just separated, whatever, or like they divorced a couple years later, whatever. But I just feel like there's some juju around this movie that's like, ugh.
Yeah. I feel like I knew that about Matthew Broderick, but
I didn't. I was like, wow. And I don't know. And also like, Jennifer Grey, she was like at the height of her, because I think she did Dirty Dancing after this.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was also talking about this with Moses. I know the whole thing is she got the nose job and then she wasn't as recognizable, so she didn't get as many roles or whatever it is. It's like, think about that now. Think about if the Kardashians, like with every plastic surgery, they got less famous.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
Like, we knock on the 80s for being superficial, but snap, boo.
I think all their plastic surgery made them more famous, which
that's what I'm
sucks, 'cause
saying.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked her character, though. I felt like she...
Yeah.
Well, she kind of had an arc, too, I guess, now that I think about it.
She did. Okay, but what wasn't believable is... this was the Bob scene. Like,
Making
come on,
out with
Bob.
Charlie Sheen.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
Oh, because I hated that.
Ew. Yes. And, okay, to prep for this role, Charlie Sheen, supposed to be the drug addict. It's like, yeah, we know. He stayed up for 48 hours. It's like, bro, you're just a drug addict.
You're
like,
just
you didn't do that for the role.
You
You're
just
a
played
drug addict.
yourself. Like, I was like, here's Charlie Sheen. Is he
playing
just
himself?
Playing himself as a cameo because he is. Okay.
So my thing was going to be, she thinks there's an intruder in the house.
Oh my God.
And she's very scared. Now, you're 17. It's probably terrifying. Someone's in your house.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, what am I going to do? But then she's like, oh, it's Ferris because he's playing hooky from school and ha ha ha, I'm going to get him. And then Ed Rooney's like, ha ha ha, it's Ferris, I'm going to get him too. And she comes around the corner. She sees it's Ed Rooney. She literally sees him directly on and high kicks him in the face.
Amazing.
They've literally looked at each other for a solid 3 slow seconds, kicked him in the face, and screamed and ran upstairs. Then he drops his wallet. So at the end of the movie, she's like, ha, I knew it was you because of your wallet. I'm like, no, it's because you were in front of him and kicked him in the face. I was so annoyed by that. I was like, why couldn't she go upstairs and be like, what the f- is Mr. Rooney doing here? Oh, what do I do? And then like love Ferris then. I was just like, ugh. And the wallet would have been still fine because you'd be like, I have proof you were here.
Right.
Oh my God, I was so annoyed by that. But it was a great acting scene. I would just take that clip of her high kicking and then screaming. I laughed so hard. She's amazing right here.
It was great.
Yeah, she was great.
I don't know, maybe her brain was just going so fast.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've never dealt with an intruder, thank God. Knock on wood.
Also, don't you love how the police were like, little lady, we're not gonna take you seriously.
Yeah.
I want to be like, don't you guys know she's a white woman? Come on, isn't this what you guys do? Jesus.
Well, she even said, she's like, thank God for the police. And I was like, ugh.
I felt like the Bob scene, for me, was also a scene with her. And maybe I missed something, which I think I might have. Otherwise, I don't know why the scene was here. But it was this random scene where, I think it was when we saw them at the baseball game. And then they were like, oh my God, can you believe it? Like, we would have been in gym class right now. Then it cuts to a gym class, and there's students running outside. The gym teacher's on a little drivey thing. Fine, I'm not even bothered by that. But you see Jennifer Grey drive up in her car, and she sits outside, and she looks at them running, and then she turns, and she goes, I hate him. And then she drives away. What? I don't get it.
Like,
why did we need to see that?
Well, because she's like confirming he's not in school, but she already knew that.
Why did she drive and watch them do gym, though? Because she knew that was his gym class? What?
I guess, but like, I don't, like, if he wasn't in school in the beginning of the day, why would he be at gym? I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. That was weird. Besides the knowing it was Mr. Rooney, I thought you were going to talk about the singing telegram of basically like a prostitute.
No. Yeah, who paid for that? Jeez. That was from the secretary, probably.
It was like John Hughes has this formula and he has to sprinkle in like, here's a sex scene, here's a one-liner, here's a high, here's a low. Like literally he must have some sort of, algorithm for his scripts. Because I was just like, He's like 17. Ew. What is
so
this
weird.
woman? Yeah. I read about that baseball game that they did not tell the Chicago Cubs or Wrigley Field they were coming. They just like rolled up to a baseball game and like filmed it.
Sounds illegal, but okay.
It is definitely. And same with the parade. They just like rolled up to a parade. I guess the parade went on for the whole weekend because they came the next day and then they told people and like filmed some more.
Oh.
And I think that's when there was like the choreographed dancing and like other obvious things. But in general, the parade itself didn't know they were coming.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And they rolled up with the float.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't official or they just kind of like rolled up.
Ugh.
And they didn't say they were filming.
I did like the shots of Chicago though. I mean, those were nice.
Yeah.
Because it did show some appreciation for the city and the different spots.
So what's funny about the Sears Tower scene where he's like, okay, stand up on this.
Yeah.
And now I want you to lean your head forward. Okay, there's like a whole exhibit now. It literally, the glass leans forward like 45 degrees.
No.
And I was just like, wow, they must have been ahead of their time. Oh, yeah. They even have this ledge that's all glass, and you could go out into the ledge and look down.
Ooh.
Woof.
We didn't do that when we went.
I didn't want to do any of that. That's why you didn't do that.
Okay. I was like,
also, mom has a fear of heights.
I know. I don't even know how we got her in the elevator.
But, yeah, I mean, so many good things.
Well, and again, I liked the whole thing with Cameron.
Yeah, he was great.
He's so good.
So good.
And like they find out the mileage and then he's all like catatonic, but then he's like, haha, I wasn't, I was just thinking or something, and he kind of like pranked Ferris. Like even that, I mean, again, Ferris is arrogant and he gets everything he wants and that's annoying, but he did jump in to save his friend.
Yes, that was a good friend scene.
We like that.
Yeah, that was good.
And even when Cameron was like, LOL, I was JKing, Ferris didn't completely blow up and become like a jerk. He was like annoyed, but he wasn't like punched in the face or anything stupid like that. So like that I was kind of like, okay. But just that whole car scene, I don't know, where he's like, you know, he loves his car more than me and blah blah blah, and I don't even care. And he starts messing up the car and stuff. That was like they make these places where you can pay money to go and destroy things.
What?
You get like a bat and you just go in a room and there's random stuff that you're allowed to just mess up.
Can we do that?
Probably not during COVID.
Dude, Moses' mom's house.
Oh, I was like, where are you going with it?
Has, you know, his dad liked to collect things. So there's a ton of extra stuff in barns. And here he is working his butt off, trying to throw it out and recycle it. He should just, like, charge people to smash it up.
Absolutely. A pop-up smashing area. Go.
Oh my god, and it could be themed Ferris Bueller, like the car.
But
oh my god.
Everyone's had that feeling, right? Where you're like, I just want to destroy or mess something up that's not mine because I'm angry.
Is there like a clinical term for that? Like when you want to physically hit something or throw something, is there like, oh, that's a blah, blah, blah?
Like rage?
I don't know. Is there like a term for like the therapy of like chucking stuff? Like
Maybe.
It's healthy?
I mean, it's a good way to... the rule of thumb is usually like anything can be a coping skill as long as it makes you feel better and it's not hurting you in any way. So if you're able to mess something up, but it's not going to hurt you, or excuse me, I should say hurt you or hurt someone else. So if you were to say, I want to go punch Blue Blah in the face and it won't hurt me, and I'm going to say, well, that's going to hurt Blue Blah though. So like, what if you punch a pillow? Because it's not going to mess up you. You're not going to get hurt. You're not hurting another person. You're not destroying something.
I get it.
Unless you're okay with destroying something. I don't know.
I'd be curious if there was like a name for it, but...
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I've definitely had my fair share of punching pillows and chucking things.
Yeah.
Dog toys are great, man. You get fired up.
Oh.
A softie, like a stuffed animal.
If I throw a dog toy, Bear's just gonna go chase after and be like, now we're playing! And I'm like, no!
Wait, we didn't talk about the Rottweiler!
No, little Waddy Woo Woo!
He was not a cute Rottweiler in this, but he was supposed to be like, he was a stereotypical scary Rottweiler.
Of course, because they're always stereotypical, like, demonic dogs. They're nice, okay? Back up.
So there's a Degrassi episode with a Rottweiler?
No,
never seen it.
That I'm
You
aware
could write
of.
it. You could write a whole series about what Degrassi episode didn't exist.
I could do Degrassi with dogs. Yep.
Dog Grassy, if you will.
Trademarked. Okay, nobody steal that idea. It's copyrighted. Copyright infringement. Oh my god. 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 It's happening. Oh my god. Okay, but what I was confused about was, did the principal, drug the dog?
Oh, I thought that was dark.
Did he do that, though? What happened?
Yeah, he poisoned the dog. He gave him flowers that poisoned the dog.
All right, that confused me. I didn't understand. I was like, did you throw a vase at a dog? No, because it's not shattered. And I was like, but how would he get drugged up? I didn't get it. It was stupid.
Actually, we have a story about Mary. Do you remember when she ate as a kid,
the
poinsettia?
I was babysitting her. Were you there?
I came back, or I was there. I don't know.
She ate 5 leaves of a poinsettia, and I called poison control, and they were like, "Ma'am, she'd have to eat 300 plants." I don't know why they're Southern. I was like, okay, I'm 11, and I don't know what's happening.
I also was like, there's a kitchen right there. Why did you want to eat the flowers?
Don't eat 300 poinsettias.
I thought of it with the dog because I think he took the flowers and there must be some dye on those flowers and fed it to the dog. And I guess the dog eats flowers. I was just like, you're the worst human ever. You know how sometimes you meet those villains that you kind of want to win? You're like, I kind of want them to win a little bit.
Yeah.
I just was so annoyed by him. Every time it went to him, I was like, you're annoying. And maybe because in the back of my head, I was like, sex offender. I don't know.
I don't think his storyline needed to be as long as it was. Because it's like you said, if we didn't have to keep going to him, then we would have had more time with Ferris and seeing what they were doing. Yeah. And I think they could have even included the Jennifer Grey subplot if it just didn't need to be with him as much. Because there was a lot where it was just him. And I was like,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Did you see the end credits scene with the principal?
I did. And I thought of you with Napoleon. I was like, people should always wait for the credits.
Wait, are you talking about the principal one or the one where Ferris talks to the camera?
Now I'm confused. Which one?
Okay, I'm talking about the principal one.
I was talking about when he talked to the camera. What's the principal one?
Where he is walking home because he doesn't have a car because his car got towed and he's all beat up. And the bus driver is like, hey, you need a ride?
You get beat up?
It spends 5 minutes watching him slowly get on the bus, slowly walk to the back of the bus. Why did you walk to the back of the bus? There were seats up front. Slowly sit down. Then, of course, it's a nerdy girl. Really? It had to be a nerdy girl. And he's so rude to her. And it just went on forever.
I was kind of catatonic by that state. I was like, here you are again. I'm just so over it.
I was so mad.
Yeah, you're right. He had too many scenes.
Way too many.
Way too many.
That needs to be snip, snip, snip.
I wish it was replaced with the secretary doing dumb stuff. I wish it was replaced with her organizing the closet, but doing something wrong and then all falling.
Yeah, that I would have liked.
Or her just hanging out with the kids being like, Ferris is cool, and then she gets caught and she's like, ooh! I mean, I feel like I'd like that.
Yes. So
the other thing that was a little... I did really like the last scene when Ferris gets to the house. The running thing's kind of funny. Sure. Although he stops for the girls tanning.
No,
get over yourself.
Done. Over
ew.
Nope.
He gets in the bed. Jennifer Grey saves him, which is cool. That's a cool flip.
Yep.
And then he gets to the bed and he realizes the snore machine is still on. So he's like, oh crap. And he takes the baseball he caught from the game, which I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And he throws it and it turns it off and I was like, yeah, I like that. I like that scene. That was cool. Cause what I'm learning as we talk about these movies is scenes that don't have a purpose are very annoying. And the whole catching the baseball and spending time on him being like, I got the baseball. It's that was really subtle and stealth and cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. The flip with Jennifer Grey was good, too.
Yeah, she was good. Which I was like, is that because she made out with the guy, so she's in a good mood or something? I didn't get why
I kind of took it as, because when he was talking to her, he was like, why do you care so much?
Oh.
Which is a good point. I mean...
Yeah, she was a little obsessed.
It was a little, tattletale-y, where you're like, okay, why don't you, worry about yourself? Because it's not like he's doing anything that's hurting you. And, like, it's not great, but it's also not your job to fix that. So
I feel like there's a lot of people at work that way. It's like, leave whoever alone. Yes, they're annoying. Everybody knows. You don't need to be the one to tell everybody. Right. Everybody knows.
Or just, like, accept that person for who they are, and then maybe you'll feel better, because she did. She was, like, in a great mood and was like, you know what? I don't have to worry about this. Yeah. Because there's no reason to. And if I decide to not worry about it, now I'm happy and life is better.
Agree. Her parents, though, were weird to her.
They were jerks.
At first, they were like, I can't believe you called the cops. And she's like, call the cops. I almost got killed. And then literally her dad, I wrote this down. He goes, we should shoot her.
Oh, I know. I hate it.
So I feel like there is a part of her that I'm like, I kind of understand that just being free of you and letting go is fine. But your anger should be more towards your parents. Because
agreed.
They're
the dinglings.
Insane.
Oh my god. So annoying.
Whew. Wow. We got into it.
I think that was pretty much all I had. I mean,
we didn't talk about Sloane a lot because her sole job was just to look pretty.
She was just kind of there.
I mean, I was annoyed by her scene with Cameron when he was catatonic. She's like, Cameron, I have a question for you.
Oh my
God.
God.
I was changing by the pool. Did you see me? I was like, come on, is that like Sloane? Is that the only thing you're going? Like, really? Is that it? That's what we're going with? That's your line?
That's all she's gonna say. Yeah.
Oh, what's funny? Because I was curious. The music did a really good job of, I think, like, getting you into the scene. Yeah. I don't know if it carried the movie, but getting into the scene. And I read that John Hughes refused to do a soundtrack because he's like, it wouldn't work as a soundtrack.
Really?
I know, but the song, like, boom, wow, you know what I'm doing? And I was like, wow! And then the, like, shake it up, baby, now. Right. Like, it had a lot of songs that you think of this movie when you hear the song.
Yeah. That was a lot of 80s movies, though. I feel like each 80s movie, there's at least, like, one song where you're like, that's that movie.
Yeah. Like, Breakfast Club, I think of, like, hey, 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 whoo!
Which Ferris Bueller had a Simple Minds poster on his wall. Throwback John Hughes.
Wow. Good eye.
Yeah, saw that.
Hey, did he... I feel really dumb asking this, but did he have, like, a British flag?
Probably.
On his door? And I was like, why?
I don't know.
Because he goes into that whole thing about, like, I don't want to learn about Europe, and I'm not going to go to Europe, or I'm not going to fight in a Europe war. I was like, what?
I don't know. That was kind of bad writing, but they did that in the beginning, so you're like, anyway, moving on.
Oh, we didn't talk about who was, while brief, a fantastic character. Ben Stein.
Forgot about him.
Bueller.
Yo.
I feel like I still say that. I'm like...
Oh, I do.
I need a new line.
Yeah, right?
Like, when I teach, if I'm like, so what do you guys think about the chapter? And, you know, what do you think was your best part? And then now in Zoom worlds, they're all just, like, looking left and right on their, like, pretending they're
like
in class.
The Brady Bunch.
Yeah, they're like, I don't want to answer her.
Is Marsha gonna talk? Is Jan?
And if I say Bueller, literally none of those kids who are 19 will know it.
My heart.
Woof.
Oh, God.
So, dad being dad, and you wanted to get this quote, but he was napping.
No. He woke up. I'm going to send it to you right now.
Okay. I'm going to start it now.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Our movie this week was Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh. Let's see. Well, I can remember, I think that was a very good movie where everybody got to play hooky and have a good time.
Yeah.
Except when the idiot sang Dankeschön. I don't think any high school kid would ever do that.
Wait, there's more.
A fact that you guys might want to know about the movie.
I do.
His mom and dad got married right after the movie.
Yeah!
What do you mean?
Well, they were his mother and father, so they were married in the movie, and then they got married in real life.
Oh, the actors.
Yeah.
I thought you meant you, like you and mom.
No.
Like talking third person.
His mom and dad. His mom and dad.
Oh, okay. You can't hear her. I have the headphones in.
Oh,
Sorry.
my God. Love it. Way to go.
She says she loves it. Your quote.
Oh, for the one that you just did?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you in 2 days.
See you in 2 days.
Can't wait.
She just can't wait.
He makes a really good point. What high school student sings Dog of Shade?
I don't know the answer. By the way, I have a surprise. So I think all the listeners at this point should know, you will be coming to visit in 2 days.
Okay.
Which means we will be in person. Which means we have a unique opportunity to do a special episode with a special guest next week.
Ooh!
And spoiler alert, our special guest will be Dad, whether he likes it or not. I don't know how he's going to feel about it, but he's going to do it. But I have another clip to send you, because he picked a movie for us for next week.
Oh my
So I'll
gosh!
just surprise you. All right, so I just sent it.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm going to click on it right now.
All right, so because you're coming home, Bridget, Dad will be picking our next movie, and he is going to do the episode with us. So, Dad, what is going to be our next movie next week?
Lake Placid,
Woo!
otherwise known as Black Lake.
Wait, did you hear that? Did you hear that? What he just said?
Why is it called Black Lake?
Because he said there was like legal stuff. I don't know. And I was like, but it's not called that. It's called like he was like, I know, Katie. I was like, okay, I don't know all the facts about this weird movie. I'm dead. Yep, that's the movie.
Wait, you didn't make him pick Lake Placid, or did you make him pick it?
No, he like made a list, and I was like, you need to pick one. But also, this episode, or I should say, not this one we're doing right now, but the next one will literally be our first episode in October.
Oh, wow.
So it's like kind of a scary movie, I guess. So it kind of works. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Katie, I'll tell you, that was better than a day off with Ferris.
Oh, thanks. Same. I don't have another thing to say. I agree.
Oh my god.
It's going to be very interesting. Little experiment next week. We'll see how it goes.
I almost have this vision that he has like an actor's chair and he like gets makeup done. And
He has
he's,
like a little beret, and he's like, okay, I planned that. Here's the scripts. I wrote it. I'm directing.
He like gets so serious we're annoyed. He's like, actually, in part 7, it was minute 14. You guys are wrong. I can't breathe. Oh my god.
Oh, I love it. So exciting.
Wow. That was the joy I needed in my Wednesday. If only we could give Cameron this joy, he would have had a better time.
Oh my gosh.
Whew.
I know.
So I cannot wait to see you
Yay!
and everybody.
So exciting.
I can't wait. I love you.
I love you. We love you, listeners. All of you listeners.
Oh, we should talk about the one fan, though. If by the time this goes out, they're still around.
Who? France?
San Jose.
Oh.
San Jose, California?
I don't think that cannot be one person.
It's a mystery.
Because it was an absurd amount of listens.
But what if?
I mean, that's cool, but like, it's a lot for one person.
Well, it could be a lot of vacuuming. It could be a lot of things.
Oh, maybe. I thought you meant France, because there is someone in France who every week is on it. And like,
That's
first day.
amazing.
And I don't know who you are, France, but we love you.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, now we lost him. All right.
You know what? And we can't even travel, right?
No.
And then here you go, disrespecting France.
How do I say sorry in French? We don't know. We don't know.
Crickets.
This isn't helping.
Can you put in crickets?
It's not helping. Okay, well, anyway,
but
France.
But I want those people to reach out. What? What do you like? Instagram? You do all the stuff. So what is it? Instagram?
Well, yeah, we do our Instagram and we do Twitter. We tweet.
Because
We're tweeters.
I think the loyal fans which I use the word fans. I almost threw up in my mouth, but I'm sorry. It's weird, Kate. It's weird. I just like talking to you. The loyal listeners, that's a better word.
Okay.
What do they want to hear and why? And then they can help us think of movie choices.
Who are you people? I love you.
Reach out on Instagram.
We love you.
Let us know.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. It's going to be a doozy.
Woo!
We're going in the lake.
Lake Placid. I'm dead. I'm dead.
Oh, all
Love
right.
you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll see y'all next week.
See you next week. Boop.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who've Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, among other podcasting websites. Or listen on our website at sisterswhoseenit.buzzsprout.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at sisterswhoseen and on Instagram at sisterswhoseenit, all spaced with underscores. See you next week.